Whoa, it's 2024.
Already.
It's nuts.
I
And
know. It's crazy how time flies, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
whew.
I mean, the holidays were just like a blip on the screen, and then it was nice though. Got a good break on time off, and so that was needed and enjoyable. So, but glad to be back at it too.
Boy, me too. And I don't know about you, but we got this idea from just looking at what other companies are doing. I got to tell you, guys, taking the time off between Christmas and New Year's and having our entire staff off. We had people that volunteered to man our phones and our lines so that if there were an emergency that we would have it. We had one of our contractors that said, "Hey, let me do it throughout the whole season," and so all of us got to take that time off. Can't tell you if you have a company and y'all haven't done something like that, I highly recommend it. I've got more comments from our employees about how much more relaxed they were. They were able to enjoy their families. They were able to travel without worrying about I mean, it was just really had some great comments. So, yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about trying something like that, even I mean, it may not be that long or whatever, but I highly recommend it. Highly
It's a
recommend.
great week. I mean, not no business gets done really between. I mean, I guess if you're in the insurance industry or banking,
Retail,
perhaps
yeah,
retail,
retail.
yeah, retail for sure. But I mean, people aren't looking to. There's just not as much business that gets done. So in terms of taking a full week off, that's a great time to do it.
Yeah, no, it was really good. So, but yeah, we're getting right back at it though. Going to just hop in the saddle and we're going to talk about building and managing an email list. This is one of those things that I think is really timely considering what's going on with uh, the data.
Yep.
First, what do you call it? First, I know
First
what it
party
is.
data.
Party, thank you. First party
Yeah.
data to make sure that you are building first party data number one, which is part of building your email list, and then managing that data number two. Um, Really interesting because what I'm seeing over and over and over again are more and more companies starting to realize that they're going to get in trouble if they don't do this. And so I think it's really smart to do this. So we're going to talk about a lot of that kind of stuff. But before we start anything, I want, it doesn't matter what you do in marketing, you need to have a purpose. So, what is the purpose, Carter, of having an email list in the beginning?
Yeah. So and let's start with the kind of the discussion about first party data, or not about first party data, but why getting email addresses is important. um there've been changes in the marketplace. It used to be really easy to just buy a list and email or mail people to even in social media, to be able to get to people based on their expressed preferences and likes and the things that they were interested in and all of that, which is third party data, right? Facebook did all the work. They learned about the customer. They built these massive databases about each of their users. And then they take that information and they sell it to people like you and me that have small businesses that want to reach those people in their database.
Mm-hmm.
And those doors are closing. Some of them have completely closed shut, but some of them are more and more regulation around internet privacy. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I kind of like some of the direction that that's
Yep.
headed as a consumer. But it is limiting to a small business who is looking to be able to market its services to new people it's never been in front of before. And so, what we know as marketers is that the handwriting's on the wall. The changes are still coming, and this year there will be more, and there will be fewer things that you can do to market to people that you've never marketed to before. So, getting email addresses instead of focusing on ways of getting third-party data, now we focus on getting first-party data, which means data that a customer has given directly to us, right? A customer or a prospect. They have said, you have something I want, and in exchange for getting that, I'm willing to give you my contact information to be able to receive your offer. That's first party data. Okay. And that's what we're talking about here. So building an email list, the purpose, a clear purpose for any email list is to get people who are interested in your products or services, who would like to hear from you, whether about maybe a special promotional offer or tips and tricks related to, the service that you offer for their home or whatever. But the ultimate purpose for that is to have a clean list that you can send to, and these are people that may or may not be your customers. But let's talk specifically about people who aren't your customers, and we're going to talk about segmenting. And I mean, there's a lot to this discussion, but truth is, you're going to end up with several lists. But together, it's the collective list of people that you can market to, and so getting really clear on what the purpose of that is kind of the purpose of this discussion.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's great. I think that's awesome. And I love the fact that you talked about segmenting, because different lists have different purposes.
That's right.
So that's the other thing. So that's really good. So I know over the years, we have used a lot of email marketing tools. So how do you choose the right one?
We have used a lot of them. I mean, everything from way back in the day, Aweber, I think was what it was called, right?
Oh, yeah.
Used to be a really popular one, but then Constant Contact and MailChimp and ActiveCampaign, and now we're using, we've used Infusionsoft. Now we're using our own product, Customermatic. And, ultimately what drove the decision to move from one type of platform to another was what we could do with the data that was in it, right? At its core, an email marketing tool just needs to be able to, you import a list and design an email and then send that designed email to the list. That's it, right? But there's a whole lot more that it could be doing, tracking how people open and engage with those emails over time. Not just necessarily one email, but like, this customer engages with every single email that you send. They're a hot customer. They're somebody that is right for a lot of the different offers that you have, or being able to tell, this person only opens emails that are, tips on managing their system or making sure that they're doing things correctly or whatever. They're really interested in information. They're not so much interested. They don't open it when it's a special offer or a promotional discount or anything like that. So, they're not a customer yet. They're just interested in the information. So, email tools, to some extent or another, can give you good information on like helping you understand what each customer is really worth to you and what they're really doing with the emails that you send to them. They'll help you keep a cleaner list. They'll help you automate specific things, like if they click a button to take an action in one of your emails, then your system some email systems can automate the process of fulfilling what it is that they asked for. Sending them another email with a link to claim a discount or download a PDF or any number of things, right? So if you have one that's automated that you can set up and automate future actions, you'll save a lot of time. You'll build something that's evergreen, where once you've set it up and put it on your site with a special offer, anybody that joins that list or enters their email address to receive it is automatically going to receive all the things and be placed in a recurring situation where they're receiving all of your other future emails too. And you haven't had to set all that up and do it every single time. It's set it, forget it, build the automation once, and then it just works for you. And ultimately, that's why we started using Customermatic, was because of the just almost infinite ability to customize what it'll do after somebody gives you their email address and automate the next steps.
And what I noticed is we do a whole lot more for our customers than we do for us.
Well, isn't that true, right? The cobbler's kids have no shoes.
That's true. That's true. We've laughed about that. But we know what to do when we get ready to do it. So there you go. So let's talk about creating opt-in opportunities. I want to talk about this a minute
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people, they're just kind of under the impression that if I'm interested in it, everybody else should be interested in it too. And they don't think about creating some interesting things that people might want, that they can entice people to actually opt in and know what they're getting. So, one thing is we'd have people that send out quarterly newsletters. Those newsletters are more interesting than sales emails. So if somebody's going to opt in and they think all they're going to get is a bunch of sales emails, they're not going to do it. So you have to create some really enticing opt in opportunities so that people actually get something of value, because they're exchanging their email, which is of value to you. They're looking to get something of value from you. So I find it really interesting sometimes when I see how people are trying to gather emails. It's like, yeah, what are you giving them? I don't, there's nothing of value here. Why would they ever opt in to your email list? Uh, they don't know what they're going to get. So I think that's really something that people have to think about.
Yeah, and it's not enough just to say sign up to receive our free monthly newsletter, but I think you need to explain what are they going to get in that newsletter,
Yeah.
right? Like what information do you regularly provide people who are getting your newsletter? And because it's going to be hopefully a combination of good information, of resources for them, and perhaps special offers, that are seasonal and timely for whatever season you're in, to be able to work with you at a reduced cost. So it's great to spell all that out rather than just saying get our newsletter. Nobody signs up for a newsletter just to get a newsletter. I mean, heck, those are the ones I delete or never give my email address for. But if it looks like it could be of value to me, and they've done a good job of explaining what the value proposition is, then I'm lowering the barrier to entry of them actually crossing the threshold and providing their email address.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And that comes to offer a clear value proposition.
Yes.
I mean, that's what that is. I mean, when you spell out you're going to get, a newsletter, and it's going to have this, and this, and we give timely this and time. And sometimes I think doing it monthly is too often, depending on your business. I like quarterly newsletters, honestly, because that gives you enough time to really think through what you're going to put in a newsletter. It also is a way that people know you're not just going to bombard them, their emails. I know my wife uses something called Rollup. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what it does, it actually goes through your email and collects all the newsletters, because as an interior designer, she gets everything. And it's amazing all the stuff she gets. And it rolls it up, and she can go into one place, click it, and go through and decide based on past experience, based on what she knows is going to be in there, decide which one of those newsletters she's actually going to read, and then the rest of them just go away. And she can go click, 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 go to the bottom and say unsubscribe and get rid of a whole bunch of them all at one time. So you're out there competing. So you do have to offer a clear value proposition.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's the compliance of the regulations. No, this is the one that no business owner likes to hear. Trust me.
Well, and we've talked about it at length in the Q&A episode previously, and also I think in another when we were talking about email as a topic previously too. So I won't belabor the point, but essentially there are privacy concerns when it comes to email, and because there are privacy concerns, there are laws governing what you can and can't do with someone's email address. So it really is important to remember that those regulations that in email, it's the CAN-SPAM Act here in America. Okay. And that's the primary one that governs what you can do. But it's worth taking a look at what the law says and reading it for yourself, not just taking the word of some marketer online like me who's trying to um, tell you how to use it, but to be sure that you're aware of the fact that here's the basics. Always make sure that you ask for their permission to send them emails, and that permission is explicit, right? That they've signed up through a form on your website or some particular way that they're saying, I agree to receive promotional information from this company. Okay. That's number one. That's going to protect you more than almost anything else that you do. But then make sure that every single email that you send to them of a promotional nature has an unsubscribe link at the bottom that automatically, not manually, not just getting an email from them and then you have to go, every third Thursday of the month and clean up your email list manually and take all those and remove them manually from your list. It should happen automatically, and any good email system and marketing tool will do that for you as just part of the program. So they click unsubscribe, it takes them to a page. It may ask them why they're unsubscribing. They can give a reason, but then they're off your list and they'll never hear from you again, right? The consumer is in control of whether or not they want to hear from you anymore. Do those two things and you're already 80% of the way there in terms of compliance. The other rest of it, that other 20% is a little more fine grained, and we'll probably save that for an additional conversation. Or if you want to go back and look at some of the things that we've talked about previously, you can do that. But just make sure that you have permission to mail them and that they have the ability to unselect, or remove themselves from your list if they need to.
That's perfect. And this is one of my favorite things about email is the segmentation. And if you have a really good system, this is why we started off with choosing the right system. If you have a really good email system, you can set up the segmentation based on what people actually click in the email. I mean, there's different ways to do it, and I'm sure, Carter, you can add on to that. But and I've had this question: well, why in the world would I want to segment my email? I don't understand. So let me just say, if you've got an opt-in list and you've never done any business for them, and you send out a newsletter, and they're looking at the newsletter, they like it, they get to the bottom, and you have something that says, tell us what type of fireplace you have. Do you have a wood burning fireplace? Do you have a gas fireplace? Do you have maybe a pellet insert, a stove? What do you have? Well, as soon as they pick one of those, now you know what to market to them. So they choose something and it goes into a list that's wood burning fireplaces. Now you don't need to market a gas, anything about gas fireplaces to them. So all they're going to get from now on is just the things that you have that you're going to send out about wood burning fireplaces. So that's really, to me, the greatest thing about segmentation.
Usually what we see is a business that, it's January, it's time to, shake the bushes and, remind people that they could start scheduling their appointments early for next year, or maybe they start doing this March, April, really more realistically. And then so they just put together an early bird special for sweeps and inspections, and they mail it to everybody who's ever been a customer at any point ever. And what happens is, you get a lot of gas customers who don't need that, or a lot of, people who are not necessarily, shouldn't be receiving that email because it's not applicable to them for one reason or another. So by segmenting your customer list, what their interests are, what their previous service records are, and then you can dial it in very specifically. So, why do you do that? Why not? And this is the finer print here. Most business owners just don't care. Just get it done. Just get it out the door. Don't spend a lot of time, cleaning up the list or anything else. It'll just all kind of come out in the wash. We'll just blast this out, and then we'll get whatever business comes from it and move on. But what you've just done is paid a whole lot of money, to market something to people who don't need what you have. And now you've just pissed them off because now they're getting junk from you, right? So now they're unsubscribing at a high rate, or even worse, a lot of them don't unsubscribe, they just mark it as spam. And so now you've got a sending score, a reputation score with the email service providers like Gmail and Yahoo, and any of the ones that you're sending to, their customers with Gmail and Yahoo email addresses, who are marking it as spam, and they're like, "Ooh, this is not a very decent sender. Their reputation is not very good with our users. Maybe we need to just block them completely from being able to send emails to our servers." And now you got a situation where anybody with a Gmail address can't receive email from you at all, whether it's business related, whether it's marketing promotion, or if it's transactional, like, "Hey, you didn't pay your invoice," or "We're going to be at your house next Wednesday at 3 p.m." So, if you're not doing a good job of segmenting your list and doing, we're going to talk about cleaning your list too, but if you're not doing a good job of segmenting and you're sending unwanted emails to people, you're going to absolutely suffer in a lot of different ways because you're not taking the time to put the right information in front of the right people.
And let me tell you what happens when we get a call from someone that says, "My email's down. Something's wrong with my email. I'm not getting emails. I'm not getting my emails." I've had people call that they're saying they're not getting my emails, and they're panicked. And we go in and we find out, "Well, your email's been blocked." And I said, "What do you mean my email's been blocked?" "I don't know." And the very first question we ask, "Have you sent out a bulk email?" "Well, yeah." Don't do that.
Well, you can send out bulk emails, but you better know how to do it, right?
You gotta know how to do it. You have your list clean. It needs to be segmented, and but don't just do it without doing the work. You have to do the work. And so, we've had clients that have done this, and it takes. Let me tell you, one of the things that surprised me. Okay, and I'm in this business, is how many email clients there are. Because you think, okay, Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, maybe Hotmail, AOL, maybe, but man, there's a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
And, it's crazy. And you've got to have somebody that is going through, cleaning up, assuring them we're never going to do that again. And, it's nuts.
Not only the email service providers that have blacklists of companies that or email addresses and domains that they won't receive email from, but a lot of people who manage their own email, may use a spam filter, protection, from their antivirus software or something, and they all have blacklists as well. Mm-hmm. So suddenly you're in a situation where it gets on one blacklist, and everybody knows that if it goes on that one, it's going to go on 17 other ones. And now, you get picked up. So you've got, 20 plus blacklists with your email domain. And you've got to go convince them all that you're a legitimate sender. And, you can waste a lot of daylight, just trying to get that done. And we've had to do it for clients and help them with that. And, it's a nightmare. It's, simply because you didn't do the work that you needed to do to be a legitimate sender, sending to legitimate email addresses you had permission to send to, providing an offer that is timely and relevant to them.
And we have had clients that have said, "I don't care, send it anyway." And we monitor things and we stop. We just stop. And we've gotten into arguments. It's like, well, if I continue to do this, this is what's going to happen. Is that what you want? Because if that happens, then we're looking at maybe a couple of weeks and you're down. You're not going to get any emails in or out, whatever. So, this is a big deal, guys. And every business owner wants to go, what's the deal? It's an email. Well, yeah.
Let me tell you, your email list is one of the most valuable things you possess in a business. When you go to sell your business, one of the questions that the buyer is going to ask you is, "Tell me about your email list." They're going to want to know the names that are on it. Are they recent? Are they clean? Are they still customers? What were they interested in? Do you have permission to be able to send to them? And is that right transferable to me when I buy the business? In other words, have you worded your opt-in to say, in your privacy policy on your website, that you have the right to share this information with people in your business and or assigns, right? That means anybody who might be prospectively buying your business or who has bought your business, they get your list. I mean, your list is like, it's cash in the bank. And to treat it casually as something that's just not all that important is like, spending $80,000 on a brand new truck and then, running it straight into a brick wall.
Or putting diesel in it.
Or putting diesel in it.
Unless it's a diesel truck, of course.
Right, yeah.
So this is going to hit somebody. And so what is engaging content? So when I say craft engaging content, there are a lot of people that think what engaging content is all the technical kind of minutia things about their industry. Well, that's very engaging content if you're in a group with like-minded business owners. Y'all may be having a lot of engaging content talking about, I don't know, what HVAC unit is going to take over the world this year, or, how in the world do you, I don't know, whatever it is, all the technical stuff, all those things in the back end that you would get on a group and just go bang, bang, bang. And then we see it coming out in a newsletter. I need to tell you guys, most people don't talk your language and they don't care. They just want it to work. So let's talk about some of the things in homes that could be engaging content. You could talk about what to do when, seasonal things. You can say, if you're a chimney guy, you can say, hey, on chimneys this type of year, when we come in the fall, we see there is a ton of leaves and gutters. And though we don't do gutters, we highly recommend, you get your gutters cleaned. I mean, these are the things that you can talk about. You can also talk about, seasonal recipes. You can talk about all the different things that people may not think about, a business like you talking about, but it's homeowner centric if you're a home service business. So think, out loud. And I want to put this in here with ChatGPT, Bard, whatever, you use. You can go in there and say, hey, give me some ideas during this time of year. What would a homeowner be interested in? And let it help you.
Yeah, it's a great writing prompt tool. It's a great headline writer. I mean, and one of the things that we know just as marketers and students of human behavior is that human beings hate more than anything else. They fear losing what they already have, right? So titles or headlines like, 7 most common mistakes homeowners make with regard to their plumbing or, to their chimney system or something like that is it's engaging because the reader's brain goes, oh, I wonder if there's something on that list that I'm doing that I'm not aware of that could cause me to lose something I already have, right? Like, could damage my system and cost me a lot of money, or could ruin my home or cause a fire or, something like that. So that's engaging. That gets them to click and open it up and to read it because they're interested to know, am I making any of these mistakes? Am I among the stupid? Am I uninformed? And if so, then I need to get informed. So I'll read the article. Things like that are ways of crafting or, ways of thinking about like how to get to what people care about.
I think that's good. And it really is. You have to get yourself out of the business owner that's you and get in the mind of your customer and what that customer is looking for. I think that's very, very true. So cleaning lists, talk about cleaning lists.
Well, this is, this is not spring cleaning. Okay. This isn't a once a year kind of a deal or a once and done. This is ongoing maintenance work that just has to be done. The proper care and feeding of your email list, because it's such a valuable part of your company. It deserves regular attention and maintenance. Now, you can enlist the help of your customers to help you clean the list, right? You can check in with customers who have not opened a single email that you've provided to them in the past 6 months, and you can send them just that segment of your list. And you should know these things if you have an email tool that gives you those kinds of statistics, right? Run a report and find out and filter out. You just want the people who have not opened or engaged with any of your emails in the past 6 months, and then send them an email that says, hey, we know we noticed we've been sending you these emails, with tips and offers and articles and whatever, but you haven't really been engaging with it, which is fine if this isn't important to you. But would you just take a minute and let us know, or unsubscribe if it's no longer useful to you? You actually want to encourage people to unsubscribe from your list if they don't find what you have to be useful. Why? Well, number one, cost savings. Most email tools charge you per email sent. And if you're sending 30% of your emails to people who never even open it, you're just throwing money out the door every single time. Why are you doing that? Clean your list. Send out an email and get people to get off your list if they're not interested in what you have. That same email can be, perhaps we're not providing you with specifically the information that you're interested in. Could you take a minute and tell us a little bit more about what your interests are, what systems you have, or what the reason that you might have gotten on our list to begin with, or whatever, and give them just a 2 or 3 question little quiz that they can answer. What are you doing? You're helping to segment your list. You're helping to gather better information about your customer and what their real interests are, so that you're not bothering with them with things that don't matter to them, and you are approaching them with things that do. That's part of clean list hygiene. Making sure that old emails of previous customers who haven't done business with you in the past 18 months, get them off the list automatically. If you can pull a list of all of the people on your, and just see these people haven't done business with us in the past 18 months to 2 years or whatever, then they don't belong on our list anymore. Take them off the list, or send them a Hail Mary email that says, we haven't heard from you in 18 months. We'd love to have you back as a customer. Here's a special offer. If you take us up on it, between now and such time, we'll be happy to give you this discount to keep you as our customer. That's a great way to re-engage and, keep that list clean and make sure that it's full of people who are still getting value and benefit from your business. There's a lot of other tricks and things that you can do to keep it clean. The main thing is, if it's a dud email address, like there's a misspelling in it and it never gets delivered, that doesn't belong in your list anymore. Just either correct it if you have the ability to find out what the correct email address is, or just get rid of it altogether, because sending to dead email addresses also hurts your sending score. You only want your emails to go to people who are real people, who really opted in, who are ready to get your offers and act on them. So that's in a nutshell how you keep your list clean. And it needs to be an ongoing process all year long. Every day you need to be, when you're on the phone taking an appointment, you're asking somebody for their email address, or you're verifying that the email address you have on file for them, if they're a previous customer, is still good. It's still the right email address for them. And they'll let you know, no, I don't use that one anymore. Here, let me give you my new one. And, so you're keeping a clean list. That's it.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And then this goes without saying to me, you always want to test. So what are you testing? You're going to test different types of emails. You can test, all kinds of, what are the subject matters in the newsletters? Which one performs better than the others? You want to optimize those things. Talk a little bit about optimizing an email.
Yeah, there's this is sort of advanced, which is why it's one of the last things on the list. We don't always get a chance to do it with our customers. A lot of the businesses that we really work with their lists are too small to really get the full advantage of A/B testing. A/B testing is where you take your list and you segment it usually just randomly, the people that are going to receive this email, I'm going to take 50% of them are going to receive email version A, and 50% are going to receive email version B. And it's usually a small difference between A and B. It's maybe one particular thing that's different. Maybe it's a different image or a different call to action or a different headline or, you know, one particular thing that's different. Because what you're trying to measure is if everything else is the same but this one thing, which one is going to outperform the other. And then once you know what's outperforming the other, then you can try to beat that. That becomes your control, and then you're trying to create a new B email that outperforms your best performing email A. So that's the testing process and the optimization process over time. So
so tell me, what you said, it has to be a big enough list. What would you say is a big enough list? We're talking about 50,000 emails.
No, not at all. Somewhere in the order of like 3,000 or more email addresses would in a single sending, right? So, and that's important too, because if you've got 3,000 emails, but this particular email only needs to go to people who did business with you in the month of October 3 years ago, only on Thursdays, the 4 Thursdays of the month of October or whatever, right? I mean, like you can really narrow it down. And so you've only got 50 or 100 people on that list that you need to send to. Well, that's not statistically. We talk about statistical significance when we're talking about testing and getting data. And you need about the bare minimum is 100, and really it's more like 150, 200. But the bare minimum for most consumer offers is about 100 people receiving version A and 100 people receiving version B, in order to know if you have any statistical difference between version A or version B in terms of how it pulled. So that's the reason that we talk about lists not being big enough, is oftentimes our clients just don't have enough people to send a particular email to run an A/B test. But if they're sending it business wide to every customer ever, and it's a clean list, and we know that it's a good list, and there's still 40,000 people on it, yeah, we can do a lot of A/B testing, and multiple iterations of that, right? We'll just take the first 2,000 people from a list of 40,000. 1,000 of them will receive A, 1,000 will receive B, and then we test to see which one outperforms. Then the next 2,000 people will all receive the best performing of that, and then we'll create another email, a C version, if you will, and send it to another 2,000. And we'll go through the entire list of 40,000 people, but we'll do it 2,000 to 5,000 at a time. Each time, sending the one that has performed the best. And that's how you get to where, you're sending out killer emails that are highly on target, that are optimized and just ringing the bell of every single person that it lands in their inbox for. And you start seeing open rates that go up. You start seeing click-through rates and engagement rates that are just higher than normal, because you've taken the time to really test and figure out what is the right offer, what is the right time to put it in front of them, which are the right customers on my list to make this offer to. And, you can get, the big guys, the Amazons and the Targets and or even, smaller online retailers that have 50 to 100,000 people on their list, they do this all day long. This is just baked into their DNA in terms of email marketing. We don't always get a chance to do it with home service businesses, but it is a possibility if you have a good enough, big enough, clean enough list.
Well, I think the other thing too, I want to add to that, the smaller the company, normally the smaller the staff. And so what I see a lot with small home service businesses is they turn around one day and they're like, oh my gosh, the phone's not ringing. And we got to do something. What are we going to do? Send an email, send a text, send it this, send it that. And it's just like this, this bam, 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 bam. We have to have work. We have to have it now, which I understand the fanaticism, I guess. I don't know if that's the franticness, I guess is a better word. The reality, though, is if you can do this when you have business, if you can get somebody to help you do this and segment your list and have it ready to go and already have it tested and, already know these things, then all of a sudden when that phone quits ringing, you can say, okay, guys, it's now time to send X email. Let's get that email sent. And it's time to send this email. Let's get that email sent. And you've planned it ahead of time. So what I see a lot of times is people just haven't planned at all when it comes to their email. They use their email, they use texting almost as a Hail Mary type situation. And so when you do that, what that is you're just throwing stuff against the wall and not really thinking through what needs to be thought through in order to get the most out of that email. So,
and the thing is, you get lulled into this sense of success because the junk you threw up against the wall, got you enough business to at least pay for the effort, and so you think, as a last ditch shake the bushes effort, this is a good way of getting a few clients. So, and you never take the time to learn from the sending of the email to improve, to figure out how can we do it better next time so that we start getting even better results. And so you just, it always remains this, shake the bushes kind of tactic that you never get any better at. And so it never gives you any more than garbage in, garbage out. And, it barely pays for itself. And so you don't think it's all that big of a deal.
But it keeps business in the door, so you think it's successful when I think it could be a whole lot more.
Well, it's usually like, well, it was a success because it could have been worse.
Well, the other piece of that too that I see a lot of people doing that with also is direct mail. Yes. They just oh my gosh. So I want to take a minute, thank Will, Jessica, Terry, and Chuck for giving us thumbs ups and the nice little hearts. I always do that backwards. There you go. Nice little heart. We really do appreciate that. I know we've gone long, but I think it's really important that we really talk about email, because email is gold in your business if you use it correctly. And Spark Live is released as a podcast. It's on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Podvine, or your favorite player. So we encourage you to go there. And next week, we're going to talk about creating effective email campaigns. So we've talked about today establishing, the certain parameters you need in email. So we're going to talk about really affecting email campaigns. And just to say this, a campaign is more than one. Just saying. So anyway, thanks so much, guys. We always appreciate y'all being here. I'm surprised we didn't get any comments today, but we didn't. I guess they were just all, just enthralled with what we were saying. I don't know, but we do appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.